Hi guys, my name is Tatiana, Life and Glow Wellness, and today I would like to offer you another review from the series about Metaphorical Associative Cards. Metaphorical Associative Cards are special decks of images reflecting scenes from everyday life, or they could be abstract or maybe some portraits. If you are new to Metaphorical Associative Cards, I recommend you to watch my other videos about them, but today I would like to tell you about a specific deck. This deck is called She, Она in Russian, and this is pretty much a resourceful feminine deck. This is a type of special deck which we use for working in counseling, coaching and therapy. And this particular deck is full of wonderful, tender images with various scenes with a young woman, and there are also kids on some pictures. There you can see toys and you can see scenes from life. And this is a very unusual deck, I would say, just because this painter, Victoria Kirdi, the painter of this deck, Victoria Kirdi, has a very special signature style, which is very easy to recognize, and many people find it very healing in a way. So just looking at the images makes you feel better. They are so full of love and so full of tenderness that it makes you dive into some special state, maybe touch on your dreams and some kind of memories from childhood. I have to say, even though this looks sort of like a cartoon-like deck, at the same time images are quite deep, and some of them can touch sore points, I have to say, but at the same time they have a healing aspect as well, which is usually for the benefit. And you can tap into subconscious, and you can work with the resource and connect the person to their inner child and to maybe their dreams, whether fulfilled or unfulfilled, but in general it can provide some resource. One of the major benefits of this deck also is that it's quite sweet and warm in the feel, and so it can break some boundaries, it can break some shields, personal shields, and help to establish more trust and just to have some metaphors to talk about. Well, as you can see, they're absolutely adorable, very cute. They fit very well topic about family, about childhood, maybe siblings relationships, also relationships with friends, and relationships with inner self, inner child. It's one of the best ever decks for working with inner child. And also you can see images of some animals here. Another signature of this deck, I would say, is that there are some images with pets, and there are also angels. So if you are into angels, then I think it would be a really nice deck to work with, because it kind of has this protective feel. Now, for those who are practicing metaphorical cards, I have to say that for some sessions this deck is a little bit too light, too nice, too cute, but at the same time for others it can be a total session saver in a way, because it can be really beneficial. For example, if you get a little bit too deep, or you don't want to put the person more into their traumatic experience or into their unpleasant emotions or something, you can ask them, for example, to choose a card which speaks to them, which makes them feel better, and that can be a kind of anchor for more positive feel with this specific deck. So I highly recommend to have it as the resourceful deck. If you like images in that style, I highly recommend to get this deck, because it's very heartwarming, very tender, and I think colors are also very cute. Anyway, it can be used for color therapy as well. It can be used in education, for telling stories, for talking about different characters, and maybe talking about friends relationship. In counseling, therapy and coaching, can be used for working with family, for working with your inner self, inner child, for looking at different roles in life, especially feminine roles. It can be good for working with dreams as well. And the main purpose of this deck, I think, is to get people some extra resources. Even if you don't like the images, you can still use them, and maybe you can look into what you don't like and to work from the opposite side. I personally really adore this deck, and I think it's a very nice one also for working with kids. In terms of size, this deck is pretty big. It's not very easy to fit in a small hand, or if you have kids, if you use them for kids, also it might be a little bit too big, but you can lay them on the table and they're very easy to see at a distance. This is an advantage of bigger decks usually. If you work mainly with tossing, it can be a little bit tricky, but there are other ways to toss as well. Now, it doesn't come in a box, which is for me totally okay. The price is much more affordable than some other decks, in Russia at least. And I use this type of pouch, just some fabric pouch for it. You can find a nice pouch for it, or you can even sew one. There is also a manual. It is in Russian though. I don't know if they plan to release in English. It's a Russian publishing house. If you know some Russian, you can also get some ideas how to work with this deck with some techniques which the authors are recommending. I usually create my own ways to work with decks. I don't really read a lot of manuals, but I think it's really nice when creators offer some ideas and explanation how to work with the deck. I would also like to offer you a short exercise to demonstrate how to work with this deck. Choose a card on the screen as an answer to the question, what trait of character can really help you the most right now in whatever you are doing. You can be specific about your question, or you can have it in general for this period of life. Let's say I will choose a card for myself. All right, so this is the card which I chose. The cards you can choose blindly or openly. I did blindly. And this card in this situation, well, if not related to the personal life, I see here as basically this is the woman. Yes, they came to congratulate, but in a way she is uniting people around her. So I used to do some community work with social dancing, which I miss a bit. And I think this is sort of like bringing something new to the world, something wonderful, and then also finding a way to unite people around it. That's probably what I need right now and what I miss. Some project which will make some people happy and unite them as well. All right? So choose your card and answer your question. And a reminder to those who haven't seen my other video is that how we work with it is that we take and describe the card the way we describe it. You can see here something about personal life as well, which also could be actual for some people. And also it can be something metaphorical, right? So in this case, just for the sake of this video, I chose it to be what I mentioned. And you can look for different meanings in the same card. And maybe even in the morning and in the evening on the same day, you can see different things there. We practice client-centered approach, and then whatever you see in the card is your answer. How you as a client, as a person, think about and feel about this card, right? And then it can be read in a very different way. It's just like a conversation starter. It's something as a prompt to your answer, and to see how you feel about it. I actually really like this card. It's a very nice card. So I hope you'll also enjoy your answers. Alright guys, this is my review for tonight. Subscribe, like, share in the comments what your message was for the cards. And if you are interested in specific reviews, I can try to make them if I have those decks. I'll see you in the next video.